What's up, everyone? My name is Patrick. I'm starting a YouTube channel doing what I love to do best, which is Magic the Gathering, and I'm just about to do some drafting of Theros Beyond Death. I've done a lot of drafting for this set. Wouldn't say I'm a master of it yet, but I'm definitely trying to get better. So let's hop right into this draft as soon as we get enough people in the queue here. All right. Right off the bat, things that catch my eye. Wavebreak Hippocamp is a great card. Just the ability to draw cards really repeatedly is really tempting here. Also in consideration, I would say Mire's Grasp is, a very, very strong black card. Between these two, really, it's not necessarily clear which is the better card. I think Mire's Grasp is though the Hippocamp has a lot more upside. So I think we just take the Hippocamp here and try to kind of make a deck with, a few omens and stuff like that where we can kind of optimize this card draw. It seems pretty sweet to me. So I think the Hippocamp is the pick here. Moving on to pack 2, we have a Destiny Spinner, very strong card. We have Final Death, great removal. Heliod's Pilgrim, also one of my favorite, white commons. I think that Final Death is probably the pick here. Just the versatility, and just being able to exile anything and just get rid of any escape stuff that your opponent has, is really good upside. So I think Destiny Spinner is tempting, especially because we already have an enchantment in blue-green, makes a very good constellation deck. I'd say Final Death is probably the right pick. Destiny Spinner's tempting. Alright, I'm just gonna take the Final Death here. I really do want to take the Destiny Spinner. And there we go. Okay, well, I really do now wish that I'd taken the Destiny Spinner. I think that two of them would have been pretty obscenely good. As it stands, we have another Final Death, and I think that's just what we're going to take here. Other cards that catch my eye. Destiny Spinner is very strong. Renata is very strong. But I think we kind of just stick with our black and take another Final Death. Shatter the Sky looks pretty good too. Here I think it's close between Lionfish. Nothing really great in this pack. The right pick, there's a lot of good green going around. I'm kind of interested in that a little bit. I think of the green in this pack, the Caryatid looks pretty good to me, and the Forerunner looks very good to me. So I think, and the Chimera is also very strong. I think of these three, the Caryatid looks good because we are currently stretching into a third color. Not that we have any obligation to play blue right now, but I think black is pretty clearly going to be played. Okay, pack 5, we have Omen of the Dead, which is a pretty strong card. Especially, we want to pick up as many omens as we can for our Hippocamp here. So Omen looks pretty strong to me. I think the Grove Dancer is also a pretty strong 2-drop, and Temple Thief is also a pretty strong card. But I think Omen is the pick here. It's not clear. I just don't think that we're not cemented in green yet, and I think we should just take as many good black cards as we can because we have the 2 Final Deaths. Okay, moving on, we have Lampad of Death Vigil. The Sea Guard is not a card that I'm looking to take here. So I would looking to take the Lampad, or the Soul Reaper, or the Assassin Training, I think. Given that we're not firmly wedded to green, I'm inclined to take a black card here. I think the Lampad looks pretty good. Lampad's been generally pretty good for me. I hate to take it this early. It's probably the Lampad here. Next pack, no blue or green here, which means that we can just cement our base in black, which is great. I think here it's between Discordant Piper and Soul Reaper. And I think of these two cards, the Discordant Piper is probably a bit better. And plus I do like to have a lot of 2-drops in this set. Okay, here we really don't have anything. It looks like white is pretty open. There's nothing great in this pack for white, but the hero is pretty solid. And the Growth Dancer is probably the pick here. I don't feel like this will not, influence us to go. It won't influence us to go into green, but it's a good option to have if we do end up going that way. Here the pick's Temple Thief pretty clearly. You could make a case for Altar, but I just don't think we're going to be playing 3 colors with this at all. So Chimera came back around, so that seems like a pretty easy pick here. There's really nothing else in this pack that's like even close. Here's actually an interesting pick. We're not actually wedded to green or blue right now. Although both of these cards are pretty solid. It looks like Nyxborn Marauder might be the pick. To kind of increase our devotion in black. I'd love to pick up a Gary or something like that at some point. Beggars can't be choosers. I think we just take the black card here. I think we actually are looking really strong, just pretty firmly cemented in one color. We do have 3 5-drops that we just need to be wary of. Just take Altar here in case we end up splashing. And sure. And sure. But yeah, I think that our black base is pretty good, and I think we're going to look to this pack to see if we can get an idea of whether we want to play green or blue. Well, asking you shall receive. We got a Gary here. The only other card that's even remotely close, and it is close, is Myra's Grasp, but I just think that the upside on Gary, especially because we have 2 final deaths already, and the cheap removal is good, but I just think that the odds that we're going to get past a Myra's Grasp are a little bit higher than we're going to get past Gary. And I think that if we continue along this black devotion theme that we're kind of on, this card can be pretty bonkers. There's a few cards here. I think the Catoblepas is pretty clearly a pick. It remains to be seen whether we're going to play green or blue. And I think that there is a solid chance that we just end up playing, 20 black cards and just 3 green cards or 3 blue cards, just depending on where we end up. We do have a few ways to get the Kippa camp going with 2 final deaths, an Omen, and what's it in black. I think Catoblepas is pretty clearly the pick here. Okay, in this pack we have the design, which is not as great as I thought it was initially. I knew that this is kind of a trap card. It does help you if you're in a stalemate or anything like that in the late game, but we just aren't even certain that we're going to be playing green right now, so this does not seem like a valid an option. We have another Temple Thief, which I think is pretty good. I hate to take it this early, but we also have another Chimera and a Brine Giant. How many enchantments do we have in black right now? We have 1, 2, 3 black enchantments, and we have 2 blue enchantments. I think I think the Chimera is the pick here. I'm not entirely certain. Alright, we have another design here. We have Deny the Divine, Tower Scout. I think we just have to go ahead and take the black card here. The Lampad. Okay, so a few interesting picks here. We have Funeral Rites. If we want to get some escape going, that would be good if we're splashing. Not splashing, but playing a little bit of green for these Chimeras. Other than that, the Marauder is tempting because it increases our devotion to black, but that's really only very tempting if we get, you know, like one more of these and one more of these. I think we're going to just go ahead and move this off to the side for now. Let's just kind of look at this. That's a solid. Probably want to cut one of these 5 drops. It's probably going to be the Berserker. I think the pick here is the Marauder. I think if we can just get as much devotion to black as we can, that can be pretty sweet. Return to Nature is also pretty good, but I think it's the Marauder. Second Catoblepas here seems like a pretty easy slam dunk pick. Here we have Nexus Wardens, Traveler's Amulet, Vexengull. I think we're just going to take the Nexus Wardens here. Traveler's Amulet might be the right pick, but I think it's just safe to take this Nexus Wardens. Another Discordant Piper seems good. These Discordant Pipers are pretty sweet with the Lampad. A third Lampad or the Training. I do really like Lampad. It's close what we take here. I think it's... I'm tempted to just take another Lampad, because we really don't have that much that depends on enchantments. So I think we're just going to take another Lampad. Tower Scout seems good here. I mean, just in case we end up in blue, I don't think there's any chance that we end up playing the Colossus. Oh, let's just take it, I guess. I think there's a higher chance that we end up playing this than that we end up playing the Wave Rider. Looks like nobody's playing that much green. Another Tower Scout seems fine. Funeral Rites is good here. And then Shores, sure. And Forest. Alright. So I think what we're looking for here is another Gary. Would be sweet. or a Euphemia. Euphemia is a really good open. In terms of targetable enchantments in the graveyard, we'll have the Omen of the Dead, Lampads, this guy, these two. I think that's enough to justify playing Euphemia. I mean, you know, anyway, it's just a 2/1 flying for 2, which is great. Mystic Repeal is also a really strong card, and the Hierophant is also pretty good. I think Euphemia is just a pick here. Man, a few good things here. So we have the option to take a third Catoblepas, which I'm tempted to do. We have the Mire Triton. We have Nessian Hornbeetle, which has just been a very strong card. And we have Warbriar Blessing, which is also a very strong card. We have 20 creatures right now, so I'm a little bit less inclined to take these 2 cards, especially because of the Hornbeetle. We only have... Well, we have 2, 4, 5, but this is probably going to get cut. So really only 4 cards that trigger this. And while that's fine, and the +1/+1 counter is on the upside, I don't think that's what we want to do. I think it's between these 2. I think it's between the Catoblepas and a Warbriar. I think just because of the devotion, we're going to go with the Catoblepas. Not sure it's the right pick. Really nothing here that we want. Soul Guide Lantern is probably a solid sideboard card, but not really, because we have a little bit of escape going on ourselves. as well as Ephemia. I'm not really looking to play Gifts of Strength at all. Let's just go ahead and take this, I guess. It's a pretty poor pack overall. Pack 4, we have Thundering Chariot, which I find I always want to play, but I always end up making it probably like the last cut. So I'm really looking at Mogus's Favor, Scavenging Harpy, Voracious Typhon. And I think Voracious Typhon is a very strong card. And it's not really something that I feel obligated to just smash down on turn 4, especially because we're really not playing that much. Well, we're starting to look like we're playing more and more green. This is probably the pick. I actually really like this card, the first Iron games. I think it gets a bad rep. You can get screwed. You definitely can, but I don't think that it's as common as, you know, I get 2 cards off of it. Especially because, well, now we have the Typhon, we have these 2 guys, we have the Loathsome Chimeras. So a lot of options, a lot of chances to hit. Wow. Okay. A 6th pick Mantle of the Wolf is ridiculous. Sure. I guess nobody's just in green. That's kind of insane that we just got that late. Wow. Okay. So from this pack, there's really nothing that I love. It's probably just the training here. There's no other card that I'd play. The Colossus, as well, you know, there's a few reasons. We have 3 6 drops. We have a triple green in this casting cost. And it's just not great to play expensive enchantment creatures because it opens it up to revoke existence, return to nature, stuff of that nature. No pun intended. So I think Cetessan Training is probably a pick. How are we doing on 2 drops? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Probably not gonna play that. Well, no, I probably will. Plummet is probably a pick here, just because I don't think another Temple Thief is gonna make the deck. Here it's between Aspect of Lamprey and Nylega's Huntmaster. It's probably the Huntmaster. Well, I mean, we do have 21 creatures. This is another 4-power creature that turns on the first Iron games. I'm probably just not inclined to play this card that frequently. I think Huntmaster's probably fine here. Wow. Nobody's in green. This is absurd. So we got back the Forerunner, the Typhon, and the Blessing. Jeez, these are all great cards. I'd love to have all 3 of them. I think all 3 of them would make the deck at this point. But the Warbriar Blessing is probably the card or the pick here. It's tough. It's really tough between that and the Forerunner, but I think this is probably the pick. Nothing to take out of this pack at all. Sure. So it looks like we're actually going to play a lot more green than we initially anticipated. Which makes cards like Gary worse. But, you know, I think that we have enough Black Devotion that we're going to be consistently hitting them for probably 4 or 5 when it comes down. Which is not insignificant at all. So we have 22 creatures in this right now. So we're probably going to cut a decent number of those. Looking at our non-creatures, we have Omen of the Dead, Cetessan Training, Warbriar Blessing, First Round Games, Funeral Rites, Mantle, and 2 Final Deaths. I think these are essentially untouchable. These are all going to make the deck no matter what. So of these 5 cards, then the Cetessan Training is probably the one that I would cut of those 5, followed by Funeral Rites. I'm less inclined to cut Funeral Rites because we have 2 Chimeras and the Typhon. This is not a deck that I would look to play more than 40 cards in, so I think that we're going to aim to narrow it down to 23 here. So in terms of creatures that I'm looking to cut, we could cut a Lampad, we could cut Caryatid. Our curve isn't terrible at all. I think the number the 2 drops that we have really is reassuring. We can probably cut one of these guys, and a Nexus Wardens, just because we don't have that many enchantments. And none of those guys are 4 power. This is really just kind of a minor addition. Like, I'm not considering. This card is not strong enough that I would be considering playing, extra 4 power creatures. So the question is, do we cut the Huntmaster, or do we look at other cards to cut? I think cutting one Lampad is probably fine. It brings us back down to 26. I really do like keeping at least one Omen in this deck. Or Omen of the Dead, because I think it gives us the chance to get back Gary, gives us a chance to get back one of these guys that we can just trade off for a 3-drop. I think get back. That just seems pretty sweet. Maybe a Marauder's the cut here. It's tough because they make these guys so much better. Let's look at our combined curve. Yeah, our curve is pretty good. I'm not so inclined to cut the Blight Breath Catableepes, or whatever the plural is of that. I just think all 3 are pretty strong here. So maybe the cuts are probably Huntmaster. Brings down to 25. I just don't feel like Huntmaster does that much for us in this deck. It might give a creature +2/+0. And other than that, it's just a 4/3. And I think if it's just going to be a 4/3, I'd rather just have the Nyxborn Marauder, because it opens us up to big stuff with these guys. So are there any non-creatures that cost less than 4 that I'm looking to get rid of? The only ones we have left that are that cheap are the Omen, the Warbriar Blessing, and the Funeral Rites in the first round games. Maybe this is the cut here. I mean, it's solid. I just don't think it's great. We could probably afford to cut another 2-drop. I think we can probably afford to cut the Caryatid. I just think it's a good card, but 1, we're not it does accelerate us, but 1, we're not splashing anything, and 2, it really does open you up to Mogus's favor. And I think that it gets talked about a decent amount, but I just don't think that it really gets stressed. Like, how poorly you feel if your Caryatid just gets knocked out by Mogus's favor. So we just have to make one more cut here. And I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 2-drops. That's very strong. Is it too many? I feel like I want to keep the Grove Dancer in here because it opens us up to late game these guys, which is sweet. So maybe Temple Thief would be the last cut, I guess. So if we leave that leaves us with 16 creatures. I'm between cutting this and the first row in games. This leaves us with 16 creatures, and then we have as our non-creatures Omen, Blessing, Funeral Rites, Heroin Games, Mantle, Final Death. That seems like a good strong group. I think this is a pretty solid deck. I think this is fine to run. In terms of land distribution, The Voracious Typhon is kind of worrying me. I wonder if it's right to add a forest and remove a swamp. 7 forests means we'll hit 2 forests on average at like 12 cards deep, I think. Yeah, a little less than 12 cards deep. On average. That's probably fine. I do want to leave, a good number of swamps here, just, because if we don't get swamps, then we are literally screwed. We don't have a whole lot going on that's non-black. Alright, anyways, I think this is the deck. So, alright, let's hop in round 1.